All right, so get this. You're interested in the third eye. Not just casually interested, but enough to send over a whole video titled, What You Must Know Before Opening Your Third Eye.
Oh, wow.
So consider this your official deep dive.
Boy.
We're going to unpack what this third eye actually is, where this whole idea comes from,
Okay.
and what the potential benefits and, let's be real, the risks might be.
Yeah, it's fascinating how this third eye concept pops up across history and cultures.
Right.
It's not just some new age fad. It's something humanity has been grappling with for a long time.
Exactly. And this video doesn't hold back.
Oh, no.
It talks about ancient Egyptians depicting the third eye, claims the pineal gland is like a biological antenna,
Right.
even warns about dangers if you open it prematurely.
Wow.
So where do we even begin?
Well, the video starts by describing the third eye as this bridge between the physical world and something more.
Okay.
A way to see beyond the everyday.
Yeah.
Tap into hidden energies, even perceive other realms.
Okay, so not just seeing better, but seeing differently.
Right. But is there any basis for this beyond, mystical idea?
That's where the historical examples get really interesting.
Okay.
The video talks about the Eye of Horus in ancient Egypt.
Uh-huh.
They saw it as a symbol of spiritual sight, a direct connection to the gods.
Wow.
It wasn't just about physical vision, but about seeing the divine in everything.
And then there's the Ajna chakra in Hindu and Buddhist traditions.
Exactly.
That's linked to Shiva, right?
Yes.
But he's not just chilling with an extra eye, he's using it to burn away illusions.
Exactly. And that's where the potential benefits and dangers start to intertwine.
Okay.
The third eye is portrayed as this powerful tool for seeing through deception, for understanding reality on a deeper level.
Right.
But like Shiva's fiery eye, it can also be intense, even destructive, if not approached carefully.
So it's not just about gaining cool powers, it's about understanding the responsibility that comes with them.
Yeah.
It's like, don't play with fire unless you know what you're doing.
Precisely. And that's a theme that echoes through these traditions.
The third eye is not something to be taken lightly.
Right?
It requires preparation, respect, and a deep understanding of the forces you might be tapping into.
Got it. Proceed with caution.
Yeah.
But how does all of this ancient stuff connect to us, like, biologically?
That's where the pineal gland comes in.
Okay.
The video suggests that this tiny gland in our brain, known for regulating sleep, could actually be the physical manifestation of the third eye.
Wait, so something in our actual brains might be connected to all this mystical stuff?
It's definitely intriguing.
Yeah.
The video points out that the pineal gland contains photoreceptor cells similar to those found in our eyes.
Uh-huh.
But instead of detecting light from the outside world, it's been theorized to pick up on subtle energies or vibrations, maybe even from other dimensions.
Okay, that's kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah.
So we might actually have a built-in mechanism for perceiving beyond the five senses.
It's a possibility.
But is there any real evidence to back this up?
That's where we need to tread carefully.
Yep.
While the idea of the pineal gland as a biological third eye is captivating, the scientific community is still exploring its full range of functions.
Right.
There's evidence of its sensitivity to light and its role in regulating certain hormones.
Okay.
But concrete links to extrasensory perception are still under investigation.
So keeping an open mind, but not letting our imaginations run wild just yet.
Exactly.
But let's say for the sake of this deep dive that the third eye is real and we can activate it.
Okay.
What happens then? What kind of changes are we about?
The video paints a pretty vivid picture describing a whole spectrum of potential experiences.
Like what?
Things like heightened senses,
Okay.
where colors appear more vibrant and your intuition becomes razor sharp. Some even report seeing auras or sensing energies around people and objects.
So like having a sixth sense, but instead of seeing dead people, you're seeing vibrations?
It's more about perceiving the subtle energies that are thought to underlie everything.
Okay.
But the video emphasizes that this heightened perception isn't always a walk in the park.
Right.
There's this challenge of separating truth from illusion. It stresses the importance of mental and emotional clarity.
Okay.
So you're not just projecting your own biases onto what you're perceiving.
Right, because if you're looking through a distorted lens, everything you see will be distorted too.
Exactly.
You need a clear mind to interpret these subtle perceptions accurately. What else does the video say about the potential effects of an open third eye?
Well, it gets into some pretty fascinating territory.
Okay.
It suggests that an open third eye might allow us to perceive non-physical entities.
Okay.
Now, it's not specific about what these entities might be,
Right.
but it does caution against assuming that everything you perceive on this level is inherently good or trustworthy.
Okay, that's where things start to get a little spooky.
Yeah.
So we might be able to see what exactly ghosts, angels, interdimensional beings.
The video doesn't go into specifics, but
Right.
it emphasizes the need for discernment.
Right.
It's like suddenly gaining access to a whole new spectrum of reality.
All right.
And you need the wisdom and the tools to navigate it safely.
So maybe hold off on inviting any strange beings into your home, even if you can suddenly see them.
Probably a good idea.
Good life advice in general, I guess.
Right.
But let's be real, the video also talks about dangers, right?
Yes, definitely.
What are some of the things that can go wrong with third eye awakening?
That's where the warnings about preparation become really crucial.
Okay.
The video suggests that prematurely opening the third eye without the proper groundwork can lead to all sorts of problems.
Such as?
Disorientation, confusion, anxiety, even psychological distress.
Imagine suddenly being able to perceive all these energies and entities that others can't, or having intuitive insights that challenge everything you thought you knew.
Yeah.
That could be pretty overwhelming without the right preparation.
Exactly. And there's another danger. The video highlights the trap of spiritual ego.
Oh, yeah.
Some people who awaken their third eye become a bit too enamored with their new abilities.
Okay.
Feeling superior to others or seeking power instead of wisdom.
Oh, yeah. The whole I'm more enlightened than you vibe.
Right.
Not a good look.
Not at all.
But it makes sense if you're suddenly seeing things that others can't. It's easy to let it go to your head. So what can we do to avoid these pitfalls? What does the video recommend in terms of preparing for third eye awakening?
That's what we'll dive into next.
Okay.
The video outlines a whole range of practices and techniques, from physical detoxification to meditation and visualization.
Okay.
All designed to prepare your mind, body, and spirit for this expansion of awareness.
All right, so we've covered the what and the why. Now it's time to get into the how. Stay tuned, deep divers, because things are about to get practical.
I'm ready.
We'll be right back after a quick break.
Sounds good.
All right, so we've established that the third eye isn't just some mystical myth. It's a concept rooted in ancient traditions, potentially connected to our very biology, and it promises some pretty wild possibilities, but not without some serious risks.
It's a powerful tool, that's for sure. But like any tool, it needs to be used responsibly with proper training and guidance. Otherwise, you might end up creating more problems than you solve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get practical. What does the video suggest in terms of preparing for third eye awakening? Where do we even begin?
Well, it starts with purification. And I don't just mean taking a shower. The video talks about purifying on multiple levels: physical, mental, and emotional.
Okay, so like a full body detox, but for your third eye?
Precisely. On the physical level, it suggests reducing exposure to things that might be clogging up your pineal gland fluoride and water-processed foods, artificial stimulants. It even mentions fasting as a way to reset your system and enhance its sensitivity.
Interesting. It's like giving your third eye a good cleaning so it can perceive more clearly. What about the mental and emotional purification?
That's about clearing out the mental and emotional clutter that can distort your perception. The video emphasizes practices like meditation, mindfulness, and journaling to help you become aware of your thought patterns and emotional reactions.
So it's not just about what you put into your body, but also what you put into your mind. Makes sense. But how do you actually activate the third eye? What kind of techniques does the video recommend?
It covers a wide range of practices, from traditional methods to more modern approach. One of the classics is darkness meditation.
Darkness meditation. Like sitting in a pitch black room sounds a little intense.
It can be challenging at first, but the idea is to train your mind to perceive in the absence of external stimuli. By removing visual input, you're essentially forcing your third eye to become more active.
I guess it makes sense. If you're constantly bombarded with visual information, your third eye might get a little lazy. What other techniques does the video?
It talks about visualization practices, like imagining a deep indigo flame at the center of your forehead. This is thought to stimulate the energy center associated with the third eye.
Okay, that one I can visualize a bit easier. What about sound? I've heard that certain sounds can activate the third eye.
Absolutely. The video talks about chanting, particularly the sound Om, which is believed to resonate with the third eye's frequency. It also mentions binaural beats and specific solfeggio frequencies that are thought to enhance perception and awareness.
So like using sound as a tuning fork for your brain to vibrate at a higher level? Interesting. But what about the whole sun gazing thing? I've heard about that, but it always seemed a bit...
The video does touch on sun gazing, but it emphasizes extreme caution. It's not about staring directly at the sun, especially during peak hours. The idea is to expose your eyes to the sun's energy for very brief periods during sunrise or sunset when the rays are less intense.
Definitely not something to try without proper guide. Eyes are precious. But what about dream? The video mentions Dreamwork as a way to connect with the third eye.
Right. The idea is that the third eye is active not just in our waking state, but also in the realm of dreams. The video recommends practices like keeping a dream journal to enhance recall, doing reality checks throughout the day to increase awareness during sleep, and setting intentions before bed to receive guidance in your dreams.
So our dreams could be a source of insight and guidance, especially with an activated third eye. I'm starting to understand why preparation is so important. This is not just about seeing cool things, it's about expanding your awareness on multiple levels. But what about staying grounded? The video seemed to stress that a lot.
Grounding is absolutely essential. It's like having a strong foundation so that when your perception expands, you don't get swept away by it. The video recommends physical grounding practice like Tai Chi Gong and yoga, as well as spending time in nature, especially walking barefoot on the earth.
So it's about staying connected to your physical body and the natural world, even as you're exploring these more subtle realms. Makes sense. Anything else on the grounding front?
It also suggests root chakra activation meditation, focusing on the base of the spine to provide stability and prevent spiritual disorientation.
Okay, so you're grounding yourself physically, mentally, and energetic. Got it. But what about protection? We talked about the potential of encountering negative entities. How do you safeguard yourself from that?
The video emphasizes spiritual protection practices, like visualizing a shield of light around yourself before engaging in third eye practice or calling upon guides or higher forces for protection and guidance. It also stresses the importance of avoiding fear-based exploration, recognizing that fear can cloud your perception and make you more susceptible to negative influence.
So basically, be cautious, be prepared, and don't go looking for trouble. Good life advice in general, really. But this is a lot to take in. It seems like there are so many different techniques and practices. How do you know which ones are right for you?
That's where personal discernment comes in. The video doesn't present these practices as a one-size-fits-all prescription. It encourages exploration, experimentation, and most importantly, listening to your own intuition and inner guidance.
Right. So it's about finding what resonates with you, what feels safe and aligned with your own spiritual journey. But what happens after you've done all this preparation, after you've activated your third eye? How do you actually integrate these experiences into your everyday life?
That's a crucial question, and it leads us into the next phase of our deep dives. We'll explore the challenges and rewards of living with an open third eye and the profound implications it can have on our understanding of reality itself in our final segment. Stay with us.
All right, deep divers, we're back and things are about to get really interesting. We've talked about the history of the third eye, the potential benefits and risks, even some techniques for activating it. But now the big question, what does it all mean?
We've been dancing around this idea that the third eye allows us to perceive beyond the ordinary. But what if that fundamentally changes how we understand reality itself?
You mean like what if the world is way more expansive and interconnected than we normally realize?
Exactly. We're conditioned to believe that what we see, hear, touch, taste, smell, that's it. But if the third eye lets us tap into other realms, subtle energies, even unseen entities, it throws that whole paradigm out the window.
It's almost like we've been living in a black and white world and suddenly someone hands us a box of crayons. But if that's true, then what about consciousness? Is it really just limited to our physical brains?
The video we've been discussing hints at something much grander. What if consciousness is part of a larger field of awareness that permeates everything? It's like we're all swimming in this ocean of consciousness, and the third eye is like a snorkel that allows us to glimpse the vastness that surrounds us.
Okay, that's a powerful image. But what does that mean for us practically?
It challenges us to consider the possibility that we're not just isolated individuals, but integral parts of this interconnected web of life.
Yeah.
Our actions, our thoughts, our very being, it all ripples out and affects the whole.
That's a lot of responsibility, but it's also incredibly empowering. It means we have the potential to create positive change on a much larger scale than we might have imagined.
Precisely. And it raises profound questions about life after death. If consciousness isn't confined to our physical bodies, what happens to it when we die? Does some part of us continue on in this larger field of awareness?
This is getting pretty deep, but it's also incredibly exciting. It's like the third eye opens up a whole new realm of possibilities, not just for personal growth, but for our understanding of the universe and our place within it.
It challenges us to expand our definition of what's real and what's possible. And that can be a bit overwhelming, even scary at times.
Definitely. It's a lot easier to stick with the familiar, with what we can see and touch and measure. But what if that's just scratching the surface? What if there's so much more to discover if we're willing to open our minds and our heart?
That's the invitation, isn't it? The third eye isn't just about gaining special powers. It's about embracing a more expansive view of reality. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all things and living with greater compassion, purpose, and responsibility.
So where do we go from here? What's the takeaway for our listeners who are now possibly questioning everything they thought they knew about?
I think the most important takeaway is this. The third eye is a potential within each. It's not just a mystical concept or a superpower reserved for a select few. It's a capacity for deeper perception and understanding that we can all cultivate.
But it's a journey, not a destination, right?
Absolutely. It requires preparation, discernment, and a willingness to challenge our limited perspective. But the rewards can be truly transformative.
It's about more than just seeing things differently. It's about being different. It's about becoming more compassionate, more connected, and more aligned in the universe.
So if you're feeling inspired to explore the potential of your own third, approach it with respect, curiosity, and a healthy dose of skepticism. Do your research, find trusted guide, and most importantly, Listen to your own inner wisdom.
Because ultimately, the journey of awakening is a personal one. There's no one right way to navigate it. But if you're willing to open your mind and your heart to the possibilities, the rewards can be profound.
And with that, we'll leave you to ponder the mysteries of the third eye and to explore the vast uncharted territories of your own conscience.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep expanding your awareness. Incredible.